Earlier this summer, the USA men's Olympic basketball team gathered in Las Vegas for training camp. Dubbed the Avengers by the media, the roster was a who's who of NBA superstars, including 4 players with MVP awards: LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, and Anthony Edwards. Now, don't tell Jaylen Brown, but the league's best players were all in town, and head coach Steve Kerr had just 4 days to prepare them for the team's first game. With so many stars on the court, many were surprised by which player stole the spotlight, though. A corner three-pointer over 6'10" Anthony Davis, a baseline fadeaway above the outstretched arms of Drew Holiday, an acrobatic putback N1 over first-team all-defensive player Bam Adebayo. Now, Team USA clearly had a ton of talent, but the star of the show was no other than 17-year-old Cooper Flagg. Jason Tatum, former Duke superstar and current reigning NBA champ, was more than impressed with Flagg's performance on the court.
It reminds you of, like, all right, he's on the path to be the guys he played against. Like, majority of us was a version of him when we were 17, 18 playing against pros. So, I mean, he's a hell of a player. You know, obviously he's going to Duke. But it's clear as day, like, we're going to be playing against him in a few years, and he's on the right path to be, you know, the guys that he probably look up to.
Yeah.
Cooper Flagg himself clearly had a great time in Vegas too, sharing how surreal of an experience it all was.
Unbelievable experience, like just having the opportunity to be there and kind of just share the court with that level of talent and player, the people that have made that type of name for themselves. Like it was nobody on the court that I wasn't like, I mean, I've been watching them for years.
Yeah.
Growing up. So, I mean, the first day for sure, I was like nervous. I didn't really know what to think. Like I got on the court and I was just like, wow, like I was guarding Braun in the corner.
Yeah.
And it kind of just hit me for a second and I had to like snap out of it.
Now, Cooper Flagg was the only teenager and lone collegiate player among the 15 athletes selected to train against the USA men's Olympic basketball team as they prepared for the Paris Games. But he certainly held his own against the best of the best. It was sort of a reminder to everyone why he's projected to be the first overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft. But before he gets drafted, Cooper Flagg will be able to make millions of dollars at Duke thanks to the new NIL rules. Other than the fact that his name sounds like an alter ego for a patriotic superhero, what do you need to know about Cooper Flagg? Well, his story starts all the way up in Maine, the state that invented wearing shorts in the winter. From a young age, Cooper Flagg was a standout athlete. He played several age groups up in his local rec league, and his parents drove 2 hours from northern Maine to southern Maine just so Flagg could play on a better AAU team. Cooper and his twin brother Ace passed the time as kids watching the 1986 Boston Celtics championship season on a portable DVD player. For any of you kids out there watching today, a DVD player was how people watch movies before YouTube. Anyways, the Flagg boys studied the DVD to learn the game, quickly deciding the hick, from French lick, Larry Bird himself, was their favorite player, along with the current Celtics great, Jason Tatum. In high school, Cooper headed down south, transferring to Montverde Academy in Florida before his sophomore year. Montverde might have been 1,500 miles away from Newport, Maine, but his brother and parents came with him to make him feel more at home. They knew Cooper's future was bright if he attended the prep basketball powerhouse, since Montverde's alumnus included guys like Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, D'Angelo Russell, and RJ Barrett. As expected, Flagg became an All-American and was seen as one of the top-ranked players in the 2025 recruiting class. But then Cooper Flagg shocked everyone, choosing to reclassify to become part of the 2024 recruiting class instead. This meant he would start college a year earlier at 17 years old, and if he chose to leave after just 1 year, he would be eligible for the NBA draft as an 18-year-old. Now, just so everyone doesn't sound off in the comments, while most people think NBA rules prohibit players under 19 years old from being drafted, the actual rule states that 18-year-old players can get drafted as long as they turn 19 years old before the calendar year of the draft. So, with Cooper Flagg turning 19 on December 21st, 2025, he's completely eligible for the 2025 NBA draft. Now, I'm glad I could clear that up for all of you. But since then, Flagg has done what most top-rated high school players do: committed to Duke University.
Growing up in Maine, I had to work twice as hard to gain the respect and recognition of the basketball world. My college decision wasn't an easy one at all. Ultimately, it ended up coming down to UConn and Duke, 2 historic programs known for their prestigious reputations and winning cultures. With that being said, I decided to attend Duke University next year. After I got on campus, I really started to envision myself in Durham. All the love I felt made me really excited, seeing all the crazies and the atmosphere in Cameron. I'm honored that I have the opportunity to join the Brotherhood. Let's go Duke.
On Monday night, his first college game, Flagg put up an impressive stat line, racking up 18 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. Not to mention the fact that his opponent was none other than the University of Maine, a school less than an hour away from Flagg's hometown. While everyone knows Cooper Flagg is an excellent player that any NBA team would love to be able to draft, I'm more interested in Flagg's potential Zion Williamson-like impact at Duke, including how he'll be the first college basketball star to play in the new NIL era. Back in 2018, Zion Williamson was the hottest ticket in town, and Duke was able to reap all of the benefits from that level of stardom. For example, the school added 358,000 Instagram followers during his time there, more than all other college basketball programs combined during that time. Offline, the impact was obvious as well. Home team ticket prices jumped an average of 178% when Zion Williamson and the Duke Blue Devils came to town. And Duke home game attendees traveled an average of 469 miles to watch Zion play his home games. For some perspective, the distance between Manhattan and Philly is a little less than 100 miles. It wasn't just Blue Devil fanatics who were determined to see Zion play in person either. Celebrities like Jay-Z and LeBron James showed up to games to see what the fuss was all about. Now, Zion Williamson was sort of a college basketball unicorn with his viral dunks and overall athleticism, but that skill set hasn't really had that same impact in the NBA. However, the main difference between someone like Zion and Cooper Flagg is that in the years since Zion Williamson was a college phenom, the NCAA has changed its rules, and a star like Flagg can now make millions while still in school. And in some ways, we've already started to see this play out. Before he even stepped on Coach K court, Cooper Flagg signed a shoe deal with New Balance. This is in spite of the fact that Duke is a Nike school, and Cooper Flagg's scholarship requires him to wear Nike shoes during both practice and games. That's literally how bad New Balance wanted to sign him. They didn't care. Flagg didn't stop with a shoe deal either, though. The 17-year-old recently became the first men's college basketball player to sign a deal with Gatorade, joining UConn's Paige Beckers and USC's Juju Watkins as members of Gatorade's college basketball NIL roster. Cooper Flagg also struck a social media deal with Court Furniture, highlighting his move to the furniture capital of North Carolina. As of right now, though, On3 has Flagg's NIL valuation listed at $2.6 million in potential earnings this year. That makes Cooper Flagg the country's 5th most valuable college athlete, behind guys like Shedeur Sanders and Arch Manning, but ahead of other guys like Jalen Milroe and Cam Ward. Need I remind you, he just played his first college game 2 days ago, while the rest of these guys have played several years of college sports already. We'll see how this plays out over the next few months, both on and off the court, but I believe Cooper Flagg is uniquely positioned to be the face of NIL this year. Duke is a blue blood program, and Flagg's highlights will receive millions of views on social media after every single game. His $2.6 million in potential earnings might not seem like a lot compared to the nearly $60 million contract he will receive as the first overall pick in the NBA draft. But this is a drastic shift from what we saw in college basketball just a few years ago, and it allows Cooper Flagg to enter the NBA with a fully vetted business team around him. No matter what happens, though, we're finally going to see how much of an impact NIL can make for a bona fide superstar in college basketball. Cooper Flagg has everything a brand could want. Big-time school, big-time talent, and arguably the best name. If Flagg can combine all of those things with actual success on the court, we'll surely see his legend and his bank account grow to epic proportions. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please make sure to subscribe to my channel, as I make weekly videos breaking down the business and money behind sports.